couple of years ago, I did a whole series of art that was like in this color, and it had a bunch of eyes and stuff, and I liked it at the time, and I even sold one of them. But I decided I'd had enough of that, and instead of throwing it out, what I did is I just folded the paper in half, and then half quarter, and then cut up the pieces, and then I took some tape and just taped, so just some basic masking tape on both sides. And then I just ran it through my sewing machine to add another border and some more reinforcements. And then I made it into a journal. So I thought I would give you some tips in case you're stuck as to what to put into your journal or what kinds of things you can use. So my first tip is use words from magazines. My second tip is type your own messages. I used a typewriter, but you can use your computer. So another tip is to use things that you find that you collect, but you're just sitting around not being used, or maybe it's in a drawer. So I found a broken peacock feather in my stash, so I decided to glue it down and then reinforce it with some embroidery floss. This is from Fortune Cookie. It's a fortune cookie slip, so I decided to use that. This whole book is about me giving advice to myself about how to make decisions or ways to make my life easier, not so stressful. Here I just use a little piece of jean material, cut up some old envelopes. Now, one way you can make continuity or make your journal have continuity is to repeat things from one page to the next. So as you can see, this whole book has blue, but I also decided to add, same kind of book pages, just trying to, or same kind of envelope, but just kind of changing the order or the direction that the lines are going. Again, here's another fortune cookie slip. On this page, I decided to use another feather. Again, reinforced it with some embroidery thread. I took apart an old book, and the spine was glued together, and so it had these really interesting pieces of fabric and glue, so I decided to put it on here. I incorporated some cheesecloth, and cheesecloth, you can color it by using your watercolor paint or your Stabilo all woody pencils. What else? I have little pieces of fabric that I've been saving, and did you know that you can write on fabric? So again, I just went around it really loosely with my sewing machine and then wrote on it. Another way to fill a journal, of course, is to do some reflections, some writing, and put some quotes. A lot of people buy focal points or they download them off of the internet and print them off, but you can actually draw your own images. And these little figures here, they take hardly any time. They're very simple, but yet they tell a story. Now, another neat thing about this journal is that there's a journal that way, but if you turn the on the back, then you have another journal. And to make all of the pages on this side be cohesive, what I did is I took some molding paste and a stencil and then just scraped the molding paste on using I forget what these are called, palette knives, and just go across like this. Once it's dry, that doesn't move, and you can paint over top of it. This was just a one line, trying not to lift my pen up. I have a whole collection of those, so sometimes I don't feel like doing a lot of things, but I'll make faces. I use book pages a lot, map pages. A lady gave me a whole bunch of patterns, so I thought it was time for me to start using some of the patterns up. So you'll see little illustration from a pattern there. Another feather that I have in my collection, some little bits from the pattern itself. This is the cheesecloth from the other side. Here's some money. I don't know, it was in a cereal box or something like that. And then you can see again on each page I have a little bit of that molding paste stencil. Some more fabric. You can use lace. I actually sewed this in, but I glued it first, but then I sewed it down with my sewing machine. Sometimes I don't know what the theme of the page will be about, but I'll look for words from the book pages that I glued down, and I'll circle words. And so this one was about nonsense. So I thought, oh, let's remind myself to stay playful and not be so uptight about what my pages look like. Other things you can do is, I'm an avid reader and I like to write down quotes and things that I find really interesting from books I read, novels I read. And so this was a quote, the 4 Statements of Wisdom in Louise Penny's book. And she has these 4 sentences in a lot of the novels in the series. A transfer that I made with packing tape in my photograph. I look kind of possessed, but I included it anyways, since the whole book is about me. And then sometimes you don't feel like putting a lot of things down, so I didn't put too much for patterns or anything, and I focused on, let's simplify things. And on this one, what I did is I took gesso and put it over top of a book page, and then just carved into it using a wooden skewer. You can carve many ways, and again, trying to do it without picking up my skewer. And then once it was dry, I can paint over it. Or again, you can use little Caran d'Ache crayons. Then you can also see that you can make your book pages look cohesive by using the same colors on each page. On here, this was a continuous line drawing. So it's about embracing imperfections. I sewed around the word sing so I can focus on that. And then I always date stamp my journals, usually each page, but in this case, because I was working on each one all together, I just put the completion time. And then I also sign my pages because I signed that I'm the artist. So another great thing about these journals is because there's stuff on both sides, the pages are really thick. And so you can enjoy your book by pulling out the pages and seeing them all together. So it's kind of interesting to see them all laying flat. Maybe like that. Then you can kind of see, what page, do you want to add anything to your pages? I tried to repeat a pattern on each page from one page to the next. And then you can also stand them up. And then they're kind of like a sculpture. A wonky star. And then it's kind of interesting to look at them from the side view. Well, so I hope you picked up some tips to help you with your visual journaling. And if you like this video, we'd love to have you like it and subscribe to my channel, leave a comment and share if you like. Thank you for coming to my studio and seeing my newest creation.
Like this video, comment below, subscribe to my channel, and share with your friends.